Kindness is often seen as an unquestionable virtue, a quality that fosters goodwill, strengthens relationships, and creates a more harmonious world. However, it is frequently misunderstood, both by those who offer it and those who receive it. True kindness is not merely being agreeable or avoiding conflict. It is an expression of genuine care, empathy, and moral strength. Yet, in many cases, kindness is mistaken for weakness, leading to unintended consequences, including disrespect. C.S. Lewis often emphasized the difference between true virtue and its diluted, misunderstood forms. He argued that kindness, when separated from truth and strength, could become hollow or even counterproductive. Many people assume that being kind means always being accommodating, never saying no, and constantly prioritizing others' comfort over their own integrity. This form of kindness, however well intentioned, can lead to people being taken for granted or even manipulated. One of the reasons kindness is often misunderstood is that it lacks immediate forcefulness. A strong display of power, whether through authority or dominance, is easy to recognize and commands instant respect. Kindness, on the other hand, operates more subtly, relying on goodwill rather than fear or coercion. Unfortunately, many mistake this gentleness for passivity, assuming that a kind person lacks the ability to stand firm or assert themselves. As a result, kindness can sometimes invite exploitation from those who see an opportunity to take advantage of someone who is consistently generous and forgiving. Another reason kindness is mistaken for weakness is that people often assume that those who are kind lack boundaries. A person who always helps, always listens, and always gives may find themselves in situations where others expect more without reciprocation. Over time, such individuals may realize that their kindness is no longer being appreciated, but rather expected. What was once seen as a generous act becomes routine, and instead of gratitude, they may be met with indifference, or worse, entitlement. When kindness is not paired with a sense of self respect and firm limits, it can lead to people losing their own voice and personal agency. C.S. Lewis touched upon this idea in his writings, where he explored the importance of truth and virtue being inseparable. In The Problem of Pain, he wrote about how love, if reduced to mere kindness, can lose its higher purpose. True kindness is not about making life easier for others at any cost, but rather about helping them grow, even if it means setting difficult boundaries. Lewis suggested that moral strength and kindness must go hand in hand. Otherwise, kindness alone can lead to a false sense of virtue that neither serves the giver nor the recipient. Thus, while kindness is a noble trait, it must be accompanied by strength, wisdom, and discernment. Those who are truly kind must also be willing to stand firm, to say no when necessary, and to recognize when their kindness is being misused. Without these qualities, kindness can lead to disrespect, not because it is a flaw, but because it is being expressed without the support of firm principles and self-respect. Kindness, when consistently offered without boundaries, can sometimes become a gateway to disrespect. While most people appreciate and reciprocate kindness, there are always those who see it as an opportunity to take advantage of others. This unfortunate reality occurs because human nature often gravitates toward convenience. When someone is always willing to help, accommodate, or sacrifice for others, it can create a dynamic where their generosity is no longer valued but rather expected. Over time, this shift leads to a loss of respect, as the giver is perceived as someone who will always comply, regardless of how they are treated. One reason kindness can lead to disrespect is that people tend to push limits. When someone is consistently patient, forgiving, and giving, others may subconsciously test how much they can take without resistance. What begins as small favors or minor requests can gradually escalate into larger demands. Because the kind person does not push back or set clear boundaries, the recipient of their kindness may start to feel entitled to it. Instead of appreciating the generosity, they start to believe they are owed that level of treatment. When this entitlement sets in, gratitude fades, and respect diminishes. Another factor is the way society often equates assertiveness with strength and passivity with weakness. A person who stands up for themselves, speaks firmly, or enforces boundaries is more likely to be respected, even if they are not particularly kind. On the other hand, a person who is always agreeable, avoids confrontation, and constantly yields to others' wishes may be seen as lacking authority. This perception can cause people to take them less seriously and, in some cases, outright dismiss their needs and feelings. The unfortunate paradox is that while kindness is a virtue, it can sometimes signal to others that the person displaying it is not strong enough to demand respect. C.S. Lewis, in his reflections on morality and human nature, often pointed out that true virtue is not merely about being pleasant, but about standing for what is right. He argued that kindness without truth and firmness can become a hollow virtue, one that serves neither the giver nor the recipient. Lewis believed that being genuinely kind does not mean allowing oneself to be used or mistreated. Instead, kindness should be rooted in strength, where a person can be generous and compassionate without becoming a doormat. This dynamic is visible in many aspects of life, from personal relationships to the workplace. In friendships, the overly kind individual may find themselves always giving without receiving much in return. In professional settings, the kind employee who always helps others may become the one who is frequently burdened with extra work without recognition. Over time, if such individuals do not assert themselves, they may feel unappreciated, exhausted, and even resentful. For kindness to be effective and respected, it must be paired with clear boundaries. People must recognize their own worth and understand that saying no does not make them unkind. Rather, it ensures that their kindness remains meaningful and does not lead to a cycle of disrespect and exploitation. Balancing kindness with strength is essential for maintaining both self respect and the respect of others. Many people assume that kindness and assertiveness are opposites, but in reality, they must work together for kindness to be truly effective. Without strength, kindness can be mistaken for weakness, leading to mistreatment and exploitation. On the other hand, strength without kindness can lead to coldness and intimidation. The key is to develop the ability to be compassionate while also setting firm boundaries and standing up for oneself when necessary. One of the most important aspects of balancing kindness and strength is learning to say no without guilt. Many people struggle with this because they fear disappointing others or being perceived as selfish. However, constantly saying yes to everyone's demands can lead to burnout and resentment. Saying no does not mean a person is unkind. It simply means they recognize their own limits and are choosing to prioritize their well-being. A truly kind person understands that they cannot pour from an empty cup. They must take care of themselves in order to continue helping others in a meaningful way. C.S. Lewis often spoke about the importance of moral responsibility and how true virtue requires more than just being agreeable. In the Screwtape Letters, he highlights how goodness is not about avoiding conflict or making everyone happy, but about standing for what is right, even when it is difficult. This principle applies directly to the way kindness should be practiced. A person who is kind yet firm is much more likely to earn respect than someone who is kind but easily manipulated. Another way to balance kindness with strength is by being direct and honest in communication. Many people avoid confrontation by being overly accommodating or vague about their needs. While this might seem like a way to maintain peace, it often leads to frustration and miscommunication. Instead, expressing one's thoughts and feelings clearly without aggression helps establish respect. For example, instead of passively agreeing to something they do not want to do, a person could say, "I appreciate you asking, but I'm not available for that." This approach maintains kindness while also asserting boundaries. Additionally, developing confidence is crucial for maintaining both kindness and strength. People who exude confidence in their actions and decisions are less likely to be taken for granted. Confidence does not mean being rude or dismissive. Rather, it means believing in one's own worth and standing by one's values. When kindness is expressed from a place of confidence rather than fear, it becomes a powerful force that commands respect. Ultimately, kindness should never come at the cost of self-respect. True kindness is not about pleasing everyone, but about acting with integrity, compassion, and wisdom. When people learn to combine kindness with strength, they not only protect themselves from being mistreated, but also set an example for others. By mastering this balance, they can create healthier relationships, earn genuine respect, and ensure that their kindness is never mistaken for weakness. Building a kind yet respected persona requires conscious effort, self-awareness, and a firm understanding of personal boundaries. While kindness is a virtue that fosters goodwill, it must be coupled with strength to prevent it from being exploited or misunderstood. People who wish to be both kind and respected must cultivate a mindset that allows them to be compassionate without compromising their dignity or self worth. This balance ensures that kindness remains meaningful and is not mistaken for weakness. One of the first steps in developing a respected persona is understanding that kindness does not mean constant self sacrifice. Many people believe that being kind requires always putting others' needs before their own, but this can lead to exhaustion, resentment, and even a loss of identity. Instead, kindness should be a choice, not an obligation. A person should help others out of genuine care, not out of fear of rejection or a desire to be liked. True kindness involves setting healthy limits, knowing when to say no, and understanding that one's well being matters just as much as anyone else's. C.S. Lewis often emphasized the importance of personal integrity and moral responsibility. In The Abolition of Man, he warned against the dangers of losing one's core values in an attempt to please others. This idea applies directly to how kindness should be practiced. A person who compromises their values to avoid conflict or gain approval may appear kind, but they ultimately lose respect, both from themselves and from others. True kindness comes from a place of inner strength, where a person stands by their principles while treating others with dignity and fairness. Another key aspect of earning respect while being kind is maintaining consistency in words and actions. People respect those who are reliable, authentic, and firm in their beliefs. If someone is kind only when it is convenient or changes their behavior based on who they are interacting with, they may be seen as insincere or easily influenced. On the other hand, a person who consistently acts with fairness, honesty, and kindness while maintaining clear boundaries naturally earns respect over time. Additionally, the way kindness is expressed plays a significant role in how it is perceived. A person who is kind but timid may struggle to be taken seriously, whereas someone who is kind and confident commands respect. Confidence and kindness can be demonstrated through direct communication, maintaining good posture, making eye contact, and speaking with certainty. When people see that kindness is coming from a place of strength rather than insecurity, they are more likely to respect and appreciate it. Finally, handling disrespect appropriately is crucial for maintaining both kindness and respect. When someone mistreats or takes advantage of a kind person, it is essential to address the issue rather than passively accepting it. This does not mean responding with anger or hostility, but rather standing firm and asserting one's boundaries in a calm yet decisive manner. By practicing kindness with confidence, setting clear limits, and staying true to one's values, a person can develop a persona that is both kind and respected. This balance not only protects against exploitation, but also inspires others to approach kindness with the same strength and integrity.